And I most certainly hope that if you went to FanDuel like we encouraged you to do yesterday, that
Yes.
you didn't bet on the Hawks. I really hope
Oh
so, because
gosh,
I don't want you
Lord.
losing money, especially on Valentine's Day, because then what are you going to use to pay for like Valentine's Day gifts? Well,
You can't
the
have no money.
Hawks did not give us a gift pre Valentine's Day. They went up to Charlotte attempting to get a split of the season series that they so desperately needed against an Eastern Conference foe. And
Yes.
yet again, these bottom dwellers, cellar dwellers, got the best of the Hawks 144 to 138 on the strength of 64% shooting from the field, which we know is an anomaly,
Right.
and 23s made, which was the high for the Hornets. So don't get me wrong. Sometimes you do shoot lights out. But Jarvis, I mean, this is still the number 14 team, excuse me, number 15 team in the Eastern Conference, second worst record wise in the entire NBA. Are you telling me that even with all of that going on, that you couldn't get one stop at a critical moment, because they were letting you Hawks score at will? So all you really needed to do was get one critical stop down the stretch, and you couldn't do it even with the new guy in place. So let's start right there. Before we go into what the heck it made you feel like last night, let's talk about Sadiq Bey, because that is the first time we had an opportunity to see him in a Hawks uniform. He got the start because of John Collins was, of course, out with an injury. So what did you think about his first performance as a Hawk?
I thought it was so.
And should he have been a starter?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I think that's the very important piece. I was kind of
Yes.
shocked a little bit that
Mm-hmm.
Nate insert him into the starting lineup. It
Mm-hmm.
kind of tells you how he feels about Jalen Johnson. Well, we already knew how he feels about.
Right.
He don't rock with Jalen Johnson. Let's just keep it funky today. And for him to kind of insert him into that starting lineup off the rip like that, haven't even practiced with the team yet. Like, this is that says a lot about how he
Yeah.
feels about the guys that potentially could step into that starting role. So
Right.
it's just, but I think overall, I think he did a solid job for given the situation, right? With 12
Mm-hmm.
points, and we only
Mm-hmm.
played like a little bit over 20 minutes a game. He
Right.
had a block,
A block.
so played
I think
solid
he had like
defense.
4 or 5 rebounds. So yeah,
Yeah, so yeah,
solid.
that's fine, not bad, So I think those are one of the things that I hope to see some progression going forward,
Mm-hmm.
and I would really like to see him kind of be more so on that second team coming behind
Yeah.
Dre when he sits down. I want to
Mm-hmm.
see what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
But he did look pretty smooth shooting that 3-pointer last night, and I think
Yeah.
that that's what the main reason why he was brought in.
Right. Yeah, I would agree. We knew that he was a bit of a sharpshooter who didn't mind defending on the wing, although we couldn't really see that in anybody last night. But I actually would have preferred AJ Griffin in the starting lineup last night, because you
Mhm.
don't have to necessarily go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Teams do it every night where they might throw three forwards out there or three guards. I mean, it happens.
Yeah,
So I would have preferred AJ Griffin to be out there, quite honestly. Like you
yeah,
said, the reality is we were never going to see Jalen Johnson get that start, sadly enough. But yeah, not a bad
definitely.
start for Sadiq Bey at all. But regardless of what he did, that defense was overly underwhelming overall. So, Jarvis, what in the world happened, and why does this really just signal to us, real talk? Does this really just signal to us that this team is going to remain for what, these last 26 games or so? They're going to, or 24 games, they're going
Yeah.
to remain a 500 team. And really, we just need to relegate ourselves to expecting, or maybe pursuing, hosting a play in game?
Yeah, basically, because I am sick of this team. I am so sick of this team because the one thing that I hate is when it comes to doing my job. I hate teams where I don't know what to expect coming
Yeah.
into the game. That is the worst type of team to watch, to cover, and a team that I grew up liking in the city of Atlanta. Like, that is the worst, the absolute worst. And you know what the Falcons do? Even though they've gone back to back seasons at
Mm-hmm.
7-10, but
Right.
I know what to expect, right? I know the guys are going to
Yeah.
give their all. They're going to play
Yes.
hard,
Yeah.
and Arthur Smith is going to come up with a pretty solid game plan
Hmm.
each and every week to put his guys in position to make plays. Now it's up to
Yes.
them whether they make the plays. That's on
Hmm.
them. But I think that I've come to at ease with watching that team and covering that team. But this Hawks team, they get on my nerves. It
Yeah.
even got to the point where the
Yeah.
wife last night she was like, Jarvis, I'm about to turn this channel. I was like, why you about to turn the channel? Because I don't want to listen to you
Right.
complain about this doggone game each and every night. I'm gonna send you downstairs. She almost relegated me to the basement, T. I can't even watch the Hawks in the living room anymore. I can't
No.
even spend no time and be with my wife, and watch the doggone game
Yeah.
because I'm just losing my mind every time I watch it. So yeah, I'm so sick of this team. I am sick of the Atlanta Hawks right
Yeah.
now.
It's really, really difficult because it's one of those things where, on the one hand, they anger you. On the other hand, you just want to tap out because you're so tired of the roller coaster. And
Right.
again, what was frustrating for me was listening to the post game interview from last night, Trae's post game interview, and
Mm.
him basically saying that, hey, we know that we could score on them. So it was just a matter of, hey, getting the defense going and doing what we're supposed to do. Okay, newsflash. I could hit rewind and press play. Even not even just for the 28 losses, but half of those wins, that
Yeah.
was the case. The
Yeah.
Hawks just escaped
Yeah.
in those games. And
Mhm.
so that's a frustrating piece for me, to the point where I'm like, okay, and I'm not targeting Trae with the question I am about to ask, but what he said made me think about this question, which is, okay, the Hawks are slowly but surely careening to the point in place where you have to ask the seemingly hot take question that may not be hot take at this point, which is, all right, Landry Fields, are you moving closer to blowing this thing up? And maybe not like getting rid of, the entire roster, but you really have to start thinking about this, because at this point, Jarvis, here's the other thing you mentioned, the Falcons. The
Yeah.
Falcons gave effort and, shall we say, overachieved more often than not.
Yes.
The
That is such
Hawks
a
are
better
the
narrative.
polar opposite.
Overachieving.
Exactly. The Hawks are the polar opposite. How can you be so talented
Yeah.
and not execute on a day-to-day basis and not expect Landry Fields to literally be thinking of a master plan to just get this thing gutted out? Because yeah, this last night, just no excuse. Just no excuse.
It's like you see how defeated you just sounded. Like that, I feel the same exact way. Like, how could you not watch a team on a nightly basis and not feel this way? Because
Yeah.
it's it's super frustrating. And then when you talk about the whole Landry Fields piece, right? That's why
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
said, hey, he couldn't really make a big move at the trade
No,
deadline
no,
because
can't blame him.
he need to get all his thoughts in his mind
Right.
and thoughts together.
And
You
his
know what I'm
money
saying?
and
Like,
his
this is a
assets,
big
because he's going to
decision.
need a lot.
This is a huge decision. Like, you're gonna be judged on this, my brother,
Yes.
on what you do, because you got an owner that is itching and scratching to try to figure out what's going on to put a good product out on the court and spend the necessary money or necessary funds needed to be able to do that. And hey, if you're trying to ask me to pay 20s, tens of millions of dollars extra just to do that,
Right.
bro, I need some confirmation, my brother,
Yeah.
that
This
you are going
is
to get it right. And right now, I don't think Landry Fields has that answer, T.
No, I don't think so either. And who can blame him? I mean, who can blame him? Because each day, each game, it changes as far as who the one person is, or the two people are, or the three players are who could have made a difference in the game. It's really a tough call. I mean, it really is. And here's the thing, Jarvis, and I know, of course, we'll do our preview tomorrow, but one of the first thoughts I had this morning is, and watch him go play lights out tomorrow against the Knicks. Like, I would not be
Yeah.
surprised if they blew
Mm-hmm.
them out of the building. The same Knicks team that, of course, we know they're minus Kyrie and KD, but the same Knicks team that just blew out the Nets last night. It's the most mind-boggling thing ever, 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 ever. But if you're a fan of Locked On Sports Today, they're probably not just talking about the mind-boggling of the Atlanta Hawks, because guess what? The Mavericks, It's a little shaky over there too. They're scratching their heads trying to figure out how this Kyrie and Luca thing is going to work out. So if you want to hear more
Mm-hmm.
about that, check out Locked On Sports Today. They give you all the biggest reactions, and who knows? We now know that Jonathan Gannon, the OC for the Eagles, have moved on. The Colts have decided to, or has moved on. The Colts have decided to hire him as their head coach. The reaction there might be, wow, he was the losing OC. Interesting that they interviewed the winning OC, Eric Bieniemy, but he didn't get hired. Want to hear about it? Go to Locked
Yeesh.
On Sports Today. Could be their main topic, could be their main story to react to, or could be their take of the day. So don't forget, after you come to ATL Day Ones, which we appreciate you guys for always stopping by and checking us out on YouTube and wherever you download your podcasts, make sure you also do the same for Locked On Sports Today.